All right, today we're diving into something called the patient bloom of results. I mean, with a title like that, it sounds less like a tech manual and more like poetry, right? It's kind of this beautiful promise. So, what exactly is supposed to be blooming here? Let's get into it.
So right off the bat, the source starts with this really captivating voice. It's a narrator named Zoranan, and he calls us little sparks. I love that. He's basically framing this whole search for vitality, for life force, not as some new health trend, but as this ancient quest that's been going on for millennia.
And then it hits you with the big question. What if all that energy we're looking for, prana, chi, whatever you want to call it, what if it isn't something you have to find out there? What if it's already woven into the very fabric of your own cells? That completely flips the script, doesn't it? It reframes the entire quest from an external hunt to an internal discovery.
Okay, so how do we connect that ancient idea with today's world? Well, that brings us to our first section here, sunrise, an echo of vitality. The idea is that there's now a modern technology that's trying to tap into that very same ancient force.
So, what is this sunrise system exactly? The source calls it an advanced wellness technology. But I think a better way to picture it is like a really sophisticated tuning fork for your body. The whole point isn't to add something new or force a change, but to help restore your body's own fundamental energy and reestablish its natural balance.
Yeah, they frame it as a magnificent recharger for the very essence of your being. And you can see why. The goal here isn't some temporary fix or a quick buzz. It's about helping you feel truly revitalized and resilient by getting right down to the source, to that fundamental cellular level.
But how is all this supposed to work? That's the big question, right? And that's exactly what we're digging into next in this section, the spark within cells, which promises to unlock our so-called cellular alchemy. Sounds pretty cool.
Okay, so it all boils down to two key mechanisms. First up is cellular recharge. This is all about enhancing the subtle electrical potential that's already inside every single one of your cells. And second, there's restoring balance. This part creates a field to help harmonize what they call the body's energetic blueprint. You can think of that as like the original instruction set for how your body is meant to run.
And this right here is probably the most important takeaway. The technology isn't meant to be some external force that comes in and fixes you. Not at all. It's designed to amplify and realign your body's own foundational processes. The analogy they use is perfect. It's like a master tuner for a piano. The tuner doesn't create the music, it just helps the instrument play its own best song.
To really help us visualize this, the source uses this powerful metaphor, the metabolic fire. It's the difference between a sputtering ember, inefficient cells just kind of getting by, and a roaring hearth. That's the goal, cells with optimized hydrogen metabolism just pumping out effective, sustained energy. It's a pretty vivid picture, right?
So we've seen the theory, the how, but what does this all mean in practice? Our next section brings us right back to that title, the patient bloom of results, and it explores the tangible harvest of this journey. In other words, what might you actually feel?
And the material lists some pretty compelling practical benefits. We're talking about things that would really impact your daily life. A boost to natural energy, better hydration, smoother movement with less stiffness, and promoting a better sense of balance, both physically and inwardly. It even talks about restoring those optimal body rhythms for things like sleep and digestion.
Okay, I get it. This can all still sound a little abstract. Which leads to a really practical question I'm sure you're asking. What does a session with this thing actually feel like?
Well, the experience is described as totally non-invasive and profoundly relaxing. It's often compared to a deep, restorative meditation. So the idea is that you come out of a session feeling refreshed and recentered.
Which, of course, brings us to the next logical question. Okay, how long does this take? How long until you start to see those results?
So the source emphasizes that this isn't some instant fix. True transformation is something that builds over time with consistent use. That said, it also notes that many people do report noticeable improvements pretty early on. Things like more energy and flexibility after just a few sessions. So it's kind of this mix of being patient while also getting some early feedback.
And this whole idea of results over time is echoed by Zoran in this really beautiful philosophical way. He says, time is not a straight line, but a shimmering tapestry. The implication here is that aligning with this process isn't about rushing to some finish line, but about getting in sync with a natural creative rhythm.
So, how do you take this whole concept from theory and actually put it into practice? Our final section, Your Radiant Unfolding, is all about integrating this energy into your daily life.
And to help with that, the source offers a set of practices called the Dragon Trials. They sound intense, but they're actually simple things like a hydration ritual or a cellular awareness breath. The goal of these isn't to be another chore on your to-do list, but to help you build a personal awareness of those subtle energetic shifts happening inside your own body.
And the whole philosophy is really summed up in Zorn's final invitation to us. He says, "Embrace the patient bloom, little sparks, and witness your own radiant unfolding." It leaves us with this really powerful thought, doesn't it? What if vitality isn't something we have to chase after, but something we just need to allow to unfold?